Yeah.
Oh,
Before
no.
they haven't even started
Okay,
yet.
y'all
There you go.
can find the tall short legs. So, and once I'm in here, I'm not getting down. It is done. It is done. So we have the right or the left. Who's right-handed? Are you both right-handed? Any lefties?
I'm lefty.
Then you need to be here.
I'm lefty, okay. And you just want to go like this?
Yeah.
She's gonna
Eric and I
ask
are the bookends, you guys are the stars, we're just here to interview.
Shoot.
Oh, I can shoot, look at the
That's
questions
my
here.
comments.
Hey, I can
Yes.
cheat, 'cause I can see the questions.
Well,
Give us a heads up.
well, you know, this is casual, and I don't necessarily do them all, and I don't necessarily go in order.
That's
because I can typically go in order.
Let's go with the flow.
Yeah, and I made some notes that I might be like, okay, I might have to recognize.
Yes.
You're trying to stuff this thing?
No.
Yes, I'm gonna start out by recite ABCs backwards. Okay, everybody will grab a seat. We're at 10, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We've got a good group on Zoom, and I know they're logged in for a purpose. So, okay, so first, I want to comment on the topic of this panel. Although it is titled Rookie to Rockstar, what you're looking at is 3 agents that were able to take zero business and launch themselves into an area where they're winning awards, they're meeting and exceeding goals that sometimes very tenured agents have a hard time reaching or achieving. So you do not have to be new to learn stuff from this. You can be just an agent who wants to ramp your business up to the next level. That's what they've all done. So I think what we're gonna find is that they've got several common personality traits, but they all do stuff so differently. So I think it'll be really exciting. So in case anybody doesn't know everybody on the panel, let's just kind of go down the road. If you guys could introduce yourself, say how long you've been in the business and your name.
My name is, good morning, everyone. My name is Omar Escalante.
His name's good morning.
Good, my name is. I just switched my name. I've been in the business for a little bit over 4 years now. This summer, it's been the 4th year. Very blessed, very happy to be part of this family. I'm originally from Mexico. I'm bilingual, and again, very happy to be a real estate agent.
All right,
Yeah.
Tuesday.
I'm Tuesday Benthall. I have been in the business since I was 19. I am 38, so that is a very long time. I started out in title. That's where my goal was to be an escrow officer. And then in 2010, Jackie reached out to me and asked if I would like to interview to help open up their office in Weatherford. And I took a leap of faith, and I have been with RE/MAX Trinity now for over 12 years. And I do not regret a day of it. It has been my life and my family's life. I have been a full-time real estate agent for 2.5 years.
I love that. I love that story too, because you really kind of have sampled everything, but come into your own like a blossoming phoenix when you picked this role. You know what I mean? Jeff?
Good morning, Jeff Killian here in the South Lake office, and I'm probably the least tenured of this group. I've been doing it for 18 months. So I got my license 18 months ago, and I joined the RE/MAX family 18 months ago, and no regrets at all. Kind of like these guys here, very, very humble to be with RE/MAX, but very humble to be with this office and the people here. So just a remarkable team, and I absolutely love my job. I go to bed every night smiling, thanking the good Lord above that I get to do this for a living. So just very, very humbled and blessed to be here. So
And
thanks for having
Jeff,
us.
you actually have a history with family in the industry. Do you want to say that?
So my dad was in real estate, and my father-in-law and my wife's grandmother had her own brokerage. So I kind of grew up in real estate with my dad, going to open houses and going to the office. And I said, Dad, I want to do that. That looks like fun, you know? So when I was 19 after college, whatever, Dad said, you know, son, you can't do that because no one's going to trust you and you don't have any experience and blah, blah, blah. So I got a corporate job for 34 years. And after that, I decided I'm going to finally pursue my passion in people and go into real estate. And then my dad said, well, now you can't do it, you're too old. I'm like, we need to make up your mind. Too old, I'm gonna do it anyway, Dad, so I'm doing it, and there you go. He's very proud of me, and he's very happy. We talk daily about it, so it's very cool.
And you're doing it very well. So if you need the whole room to do a testimonial for you before this is over, you just let us know and we'll send that to Dad. Okay, so I know you guys have all had different beginnings and you came from different worlds. All 3 of you came from the world of being salary employed and jumped into an industry that's 100% commission. So from the day you got your license, about how long was it before you experienced your first transaction or closing?
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
y'all can go in any order you want, whatever's coming.
well, ladies first.
Lady.
He's thinking.
So I had my first transaction 7 weeks after I got my real estate license, and I had 2 on the same day. So it was very cool.
Wow.
Well, so I was a new real estate agent, but y'all, I knew what I needed to do, right? Okay, so just keep that in mind as I talk about my experience. I've been in the business for a long time. I've had 200 plus mentors. Okay, being with Remax Trinity, I've been with all 3 offices and Jackie and David and all them. And so I knew what I needed to do to get my first deal, and I went out there and did it. And I didn't pass up on the small deals, y'all. No joke. My first transaction was $8,000.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It gives you that boost you need.
And so it was an $8,000, and I want to say like a 12. But I just want saying that don't pass up on the small deals, y'all. Okay, that's one of my tips to these newbies. There's the camera. To these newbies, do not. There's a lot of talk out there of don't do the small stuff. You know, go big, go home. No, because guess what? Those ended up leading to investors and to referrals that to this day I would not have without those little deals. And make a joke real quick. Jackie even laughed and said, I think I'm about doing an award for the smallest transaction in real estate this year. And I would have won that. Okay. So don't pass up on those. Okay.
That's cute. I have seen brokerages that do that. That's
Yeah.
the small shrimp and the
happened.
big whale. Yes.
It was experience.
But it was, and you got the client out of the deal, you got to
Correct.
practice and all that.
Yes.
What about you gentlemen? How long was it before you got your first transaction? And also, I should say, we need to back up to Omar because Omar actually towed in before he stuck his whole foot in. He was actually part-time real estate while transitioning out of his full-time job. So their answers may be a little different. So what about you guys?
So on my side, it took about 3 months before you got my first transaction. Like you said, I did corporate for about 15 years, and I was working the weekends, like full-time weekends and part-time during the weekdays. So I called all my sphere of influence, all my friends, neighbors, people that I know, and I told them to introduce myself. I'm a real estate agent now. I'm doing this, and probably I will do it full-time. Or right now, it's a side job. So after 3 months, one of my friends was like, okay, I think I'm ready to buy my house. So it was a great experience, and it wasn't that hard because you get so nervous on the very first transaction. It doesn't matter if it's a small one or a big one. This is real life. School versus the real life, because you did the course over the last period of 3 months probably. But now that you're on the field, it's totally different. So I'm the expert. I have a license. Let's do it. So she was kind enough to trust me on the transaction, and it all went well. It was the first experience, the boost that I needed to. Okay, I think I can do this.
Was that the new construction one?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
so
correct,
see,
yes,
so 3 months in, you get a buyer, but then we know with new construction, that takes a while.
that is
So then
correct.
what happens?
And then I spoke to Jackie and David, and it's like, Omar, within 3 months, you being part-time, that was a huge achievement. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm here for. But still, I was very afraid to take the full emerge. So it took me about 1.5 years to do it completely. But that's how it started.
Well, hold on, because he actually did quit his full-time job, came up here every day for 2 weeks, got nervous during that 2 weeks, got recruited from the same industry that he had left the full-time job, joined that company, and then he already knew by that point, after tasting his 2 weeks of full-time real estate, he didn't stay there but only a couple months and then backed out and came back full-time to real estate.
They were
I
mad.
think that's interesting.
Yes.
Jeff?
So it was very scary. So being with a corporate job for 34 years, guaranteed paycheck, guaranteed benefits and all. I had an opportunity to leave and go into something like I mentioned earlier, my passion in real estate. But it wasn't easy. I prayed about it for like 45 days. I literally wake up in the middle of the night with just sweats thinking, have I lost my mind? This is a guaranteed paycheck, I'm going to stay here. And then the next day I'd be like, okay, you can do this. God's saying, you can do this. You can do this. The next day I'm like, I hear you, God, but I got a guaranteed check over here, brother, So it was 45 days of really struggling, and finally said, I'm going to do it. It's kind of funny. It's cliche, but I went and had a couple beers with a friend of mine, and he said, follow your heart. And so sometimes we use our head, we analyze so much, but something so simplistic as that just really resonated with me. So I immediately called my boss and I said, okay, I'm doing it. And so that was kind of my story, but I jumped into it. And then another funny story is my wife posted it on Facebook before I announced to my corporate world for 34 years. And all my friends and family, because
She was so excited.
she was so excited. And I kind of saw my identity as my corporate job. And that's kind of who I was, because that's my whole life. And she let the cat out of the bag, I guess, and posted on Facebook, and my heart just dropped. And I'm like, you did what? I haven't even told anybody yet. You know, I was scared to death. Well, that was a good thing, because that led right into the transaction. I think I had my first listing within like probably 30 days from that, because my phone just started ringing because of the spirit. So I was very blessed that she did it. But it was so scary. When she did that, I'm like, you did what? You told everybody? You can't tell everybody, but.
Well, it's funny you say that, because you just tapped on exactly where I wanted to go with this conversation next. When you first start and you come from something else, you're often not super confident to announce to your friends and family that this is a transition that you've made. You don't know if you're gonna make it. You're nervous to put that out there until you've got some successes. So Jeff's wife did it for him. How did you two, and you can also comment if there's anything you did after that Band-Aid got pulled off, but what did you guys do to first announce yourself in the industry and basically advertise yourself?
I made lots of phone calls.
Okay.
Lots, many phone calls.
Personal
And
calls.
yes, I'm not good at doing cold calling, to be honest. Just like, let's do what I feel comfortable with, and that was my friends, family. It's like, please pass the
Pass the word along.
word along. Yes, because that's what I'll be doing for a living. I don't have a paycheck anymore. I don't have insurance anymore. So
Terrifying.
I need a Mexican on the wheel. You have to be very careful driving. So slow down. So yes, that is the reason
You
why.
can accidentally wreck with the 20 people in the car with you.
Exactly. I'll be part of it. Yeah. So yes, that's me.
Okay, Tuesday.
So I did the extreme and went and got a billboard.
Yes, I love this story.
So, and it was actually my husband's idea. When I told him I was considering getting into real estate, he said, it was his first words out of his mouth was, we're getting you a billboard. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, nobody gets business from those or whatever. But I think more of the billboard, and we did put it on a major highway between two big cities out in Parker County, was more of I wanted to change the perspective of how people saw me. Okay. Because for years, people knew that I was recruiting agents, I was managing agents, I was running an office, and I wanted them to know I was taking this seriously. Okay, that I was 100% in it to win it, and I was going all in. And so when I put that billboard up, my husband was like, we're driving out there when we found out it was up, and we took pictures with it, right? And I'm literally under it doing this, like, yes.
And so did all of our agents when they saw it. It was a whole thing, y'all.
It was a whole thing. And so, but now I get asked a lot, so how much business did you get from that billboard? Okay. New agents out there, do I encourage y'all to go out there and spend the money? It is not cheap, and I'm not patting myself on the back at all, but we took that sacrifice. Okay. It was one of those, okay, we know what we're getting into. Did I get direct business from it? No. But did I make an influence on my sphere? 100% yes. So technically, yes, I did. I made an impression on them of, dang. And I think to my real estate agents of my people, right? That's what I call it, my sphere, my people of, wow, she is not just doing this of, oh, her husband now can pay her bills. You know, it's no, she's in it to win it. And so I put up the billboard, and it was at least once a week, I would get a text from somebody that would take a picture while they're driving, okay, and be like, oh my gosh, I just passed your billboard. That was so cool. I know her. And that was super fun. On top of that, if you have not invested in it's American Lifestyles magazine, please do that. Or if not that, some sort of mail out. I'm not saying please do that. I encourage that. It really worked for my sphere. They would smile about it. They would post on their social media. The magazine is sort of a, dang, y'all, they do it for you. They just put your picture on it. Okay.
It's around or a mag.
It is so affordable, and it's every other month that you pay for it. It gets mailed out, so it's not overwhelming. And then recipe cards. Okay. If you're not a cook, you still appreciate recipe cards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would get, when I stopped them, I did that whole, well, this isn't really working out. I'm not getting anything from them. And I stopped them. I got texts from people that were like, we're missing your recipe cards.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh,
Already
here
on the list.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how you know if something's working. And so I realized that people like the recipe cards. So just
So what's interesting about that and her talking about the billboard, it was a physical, tangible billboard. However, what it did was it opened up social media channels for her. It opened up her cell phone direct calls to her sphere because people were sending her pictures of that. So it was used in other ways, which I think is pretty cool. Tuesday actually has a really special, sweet social media cheerleading squad. I mean, it's just wonderful. So one thing like that can help somebody that has that online influence launch themselves very quickly, because when one of her friends tags her when they see that billboard, everybody in both of their spheres see that. So that's a different way of doing marketing. Omar's doing direct phone calls, person to person, which is very warm, not cold. Jeff, what, besides your wife posting, talk to us about how did you announce yourself in the industry? What sort of marketing did you do to market yourself?
That's still a work in progress. It's a great
Okay,
question. So
that's
I'm
fair.
taking notes from these two, but
That's honest and fair.
I was the opposite. I was trying to be a secret agent, which I learned that's not a good strategy, by the way.
But that's very common. It's
Don't
very
be a secret
common.
agent, you know?
Yes.
But I think then eventually when you hear enough comments from friends and family, hey, I just bought a house, we're like, hey, you know, I was in real estate, then you kind of get the confidence of, okay, I've got to knock those barriers down.
Yep.
I got to let people know I'm a true professional. I'm in this business, you know, to win it, and just really kind of working hard towards it. So.
Well, and he comes from an industry on training people on confidence and motivation. So that's interesting that at first you were kind of behind the scenes secret agent, and it took you getting that confidence that you tell people to harness to actually leverage that and move forward with advertising yourself as an agent.
Yeah.
That's
True.
kind of cool.
Very true.
Can I say
Yeah,
something while we're
please.
talking about being a secret agent? Because I made notes on my phone to share with everybody. And being a secret agent is one of the biggest things I can encourage you not to do. Okay. And everyone's like, oh, well, I'm nervous, I'm scared. Y'all, it is as simple as having your name on a mug with the balloon. I got a listing lead from this. Okay, I'm sitting at the pool watching my kids. I wasn't swimming. Okay, I was sitting at the pool drinking my
We
drink.
can get you a Remax bathing suit.
Hey, let's put the balloon. Let's do it. Yeah, okay.
They wear them at convention. I've seen
I
them. Yes.
freaking love it. Okay, so no joke. Okay, so I'm sitting there, and my daughter is like, "Hey," I was on the phone, and my daughter's like, "Hey, that lady told me she wants to talk to you," and I was like, "Okay." So I got up the call. No joke. She was like, "I live in the neighborhood. Are you a real estate agent?" I was like, "As a matter of fact, I am."
Yeah.
And so, but she would have never known if I didn't have this, and it wasn't in your face, right? Also, signs on your car. I got a listing lead. It didn't go anywhere, unfortunately, but I did get the appointment because they ended up going with a cash investor that's out there in the world. But I got a listing lead at a gas station from a sign on my car. Okay.
But
So-
nature rewards activity. So she was putting
Yes.
herself out there, and without doing that, nobody can find her.
And y'all, that's effortless.
Yeah.
It is. It was.
It would take me a
literally-
lot of effort to have car signs and drive properly. Drive before you put car magnets on your car.
True that. And so, but yeah, so it's little things like that. I encourage my, I mentor new agents. I encourage them to get a couple polos with the balloon on it with your, because it triggers a conversation while you're standing in the Starbucks line. Okay. And y'all, I got one listing appointment and a deal out of it. And it cost me, actually that was given to me by a client. So, I mean, it cost me
We
nothing.
love that. We got a question in the
Okay.
chat.
Yeah,
Oh,
bring it
love
on.
it.
So Roosevelt, this is to Jeff, asked if you're still a Pop-Tart agent. And so for our newer agents here who don't know what that means, maybe you can give some insight on how to change that if you.
Rosabelle, I love you, by the way. That's a great question. So,
She would
I love
put it
you.
on the spot.
so I heard the term recently, Pop-Tart. So basically, you're kind of down like a Pop-Tart in a toaster. And then when your phone rings or someone in your sphere or someone calls you, you pop up and say, hey, I'm here, I'm available. So yes, I'm still a Pop-Tart, Rosabelle. I'm trying not to be. I try to work my work-life balance, and I really try to do a good job of really dedicating my time during the week to being a professional realtor again. So I get up every morning, shave, shower, get out the door. And I think that's really the key is getting out. I try to get home at a decent time unless I have showings or something that, scheduling conflicts. I really try to balance it with my family, as much as I can. However, because I'm still been doing this for 18 months, when the phone does ring, I am a Pop-Tart. So if it's
And
11
he's an
o'clock and I'll
excited
jump up and
Pop-Tart.
I'll get on the laptop and I'll pull up the seller's disclosure, I'll do things and I'll work, 5 in the morning, I work at 11 to midnight. I do tend to be a Pop-Tart. So I like it though. I kinda
Well,
like
it
the
feeds you.
adrenaline.
Anytime his
So-
phone rings, he's like, Winona has a question?
Jeff, how long did it take you before you got your first deal? I don't remember you saying.
It was about probably 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
So,
And that was before you got the client, not before you had the closing.
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Big
After my
clarification.
license, yeah.
Because if you remember Omar saying he had somebody after a few weeks, but it was new construction and that may not have given him a paycheck for 6 to 8 months past when that contract was written. So that is definitely something to consider is, did all of you have financial savings when you were ready to come into the business or at least another job?
I had the other job in very low financial savings.
Okay.
Very low, yeah.
Tuesday?
I had a little bit of savings, yes.
Okay. Jeff?
I did. I was very, very blessed where I had an opportunity to
Okay.
jump into it. So,
So they were able to make sure that they were covered during the time it took to build up that business and get to the point where they had that deal. So, and then Jeff, you touched on something I want to move into, which is you get up in the morning, you get ready and you show up. As a brand new agent coming out of a corporate job, a lot of things I see is I'll see people coming up here and they'll sit and they'll say, I don't know what to do. So what did you guys do your first? When you're trying to get business, when you don't yet have business, whether you're brand new or if you're in a slow turn, are you working every day? Are you working 40 hours? Are you taking time off? How are you establishing work-life balance? Tell me about y'all's week.
So on my side, I was doing a lot of education when it was like very slow. And after speaking to my sphere, it's like, okay, I don't have anybody else to call that I know of. Let's go to introduce myself to lenders, title companies, CPAs, like every single potential, actually as well, inspectors.
Yes.
Just introduce myself because I wanted to put my name out there. There are like thousands of agents. What am I gonna do to make a difference? Okay, let's put a face on my name.
And create a team.
And create a team.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Because once this business ramps up, I will be ready. Be ready to represent a buyer, a seller, an investor, someone. But it's like I know who to talk to about
Very
it.
smart.
Because when I started this business and before being a real estate agent, I was a consumer. I wanted to buy a house as well. So I learned about this process with my realtor back then. And I love the way she was doing marketing. I'll help her doing marketing. As a matter of fact, I stepped so much into it that it's like the first weekend my house went up for sale, she was not available. It's like, can I help you? I think I can host the open house. Who else knows the house better than me? It's like, you cannot do that. It's like, okay, I won't talk to clients. I won't represent anyone. I'm just gonna open the door for them and I'll be here. Okay. If they ask me a question, well, we'll see. However,
Pause recording. Do not
Let's-
do not have to hold their own open houses. Keep going, keep going.
exactly. She was like, okay, this is not allowed, but we need to sell your house. Okay, so I just opening, welcoming people is like, please don't answer questions, send them my way. That's what I'm gonna do. So basically, I was just there sitting. There was a lot of traffic, and it's like, okay, if I was her, I will be here welcoming people, answering questions, giving information, getting information from them. So I loved it so much. It's like that was the first sign that it's like this is something I need to do. So going back to the question, what do they need? They need information. When we were buying a house or selling, you need a lot of information that you don't know. So get prepared.
That's
get
what you spent your time
educate
doing, was
yourself.
making sure that you were prepared for when the time comes. Which
Yes.
is really smart because I see people try to do it in the reverse where they're reactionary instead of proactive. And they are like a chicken with their head cut off and it doesn't help your confidence if you don't feel prepared either.
That's
So
right.
how many hours were you working? Because also at this time you have a job.
I have a
So how
job,
much are you spending on real estate? About 20 hours?
25, 30 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, weekends, like full time, pretty much.
Mhm.
Sundays, Saturdays, even, during the weekdays, it was maybe 10 PM answering questions, but I was working like really, really hard.
And do you feel that now that you're a few years in, you're able to lay back a little bit or have you ramped up on your
I ramped
hours?
up.
You've ramped up?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
It's giving me the chance to now play with my times where I can work super hard from Monday through Sunday, and then the following week probably take a Monday off,
Or a week to go.
Or-
And this guy travels like you wouldn't. He's making it work, I'll tell you that.
And wherever I go to, and I'll be a pop star as well, I take my laptop with me. It's like, it's my baby. Even if I go to.
I like how you're a pop star and he's a pop tart.
Oh, there you go.
I'll be a pop star.
Omar is a super pop tart because when I'm out showing, he's coming out of the house as I'm coming into the house.
Yeah.
Somebody's on Facebook saying, can you show this house or open house? Omar can answer before I answer. I'm like, you're a faster pop tart than I am, buddy. You know? You're a speedy pop tart.
What about you two? How many hours a week did you start working and how did that transition into now?
Sure. So I feel kind of opposite. I feel like I am working less, but that was more of a time management for me. I know one of our questions, a heads up, was a nugget, and my nugget is we get consumed by go hard, go fast. You know, it was I get up early with my kiddos and my puppies, 6 a.m. and it was like until midnight, 1 o'clock, you know. And I was sleepwalking. I brought my laptop to my daughter one night at midnight. It was like, can you help my clients? And she was like, what? I don't even remember the show. Yeah, it consumed my life. So I feel like I've actually got control of that, is what I can say more so. My first probably 6 months of real estate, I was probably working 40 to 60 hours a week. If not, I mean, I was at my computer on the phone, mentally working, because sometimes you're just like thinking. Yeah, it was nonstop. And now I have set my boundaries. I enjoy my mornings. I sip my coffee. I take care of my puppies and my children. It's an 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I try. Now, obviously, if I'm in the middle of a transaction, we got stuff going on. Sometimes you do have to work at 10 o'clock at night. It is what it is. Weekends, yes, full time. Okay. Yeah, it is one of those, that's our biggest showing time. All right. So expect that as a new agent, because you think about it. I love when I recruited, new agents would come to me and the best thing they would do was say, I'm getting into real estate so I can make my own schedule. And I'd be like, okay, love this. Or they'd be like, so that I can, more meals with my family and weekends with my family. Love this. Great. Okay. When you bought a home, when did you need to look at houses? And they're like, evenings and weekends. And I went, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Because 90% of the community or the people that you're going to work with, that is when they're going to need to look at a home. So I always just set that expectations for new agents of, if somebody calls you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and says a home just hit the market, okay, and you might have to schedule a showing at 7 o'clock in the evening. And guess what? If you are constantly unavailable, they're going to go find another agent who will. Right. So just keep that in mind.
But to speak to Tuesday's point, she's also very family oriented. So even though you're hearing her say this and you're hearing how she does it on weekends, what I know about her is that her children feel that they have her attention. So she is very good at time blocking and work-life balance, but it does take boundaries to set that up. I mean, she will stay up at night and sew costumes for her kids so that the next day at school, they have something to wear for one day that they know mom made.
Yeah.
So there is a component to it where you do get to make your own schedule, but she's right. You are in different markets at liberty to the client's schedule. And that's something to be said about all three of these guys. We're looking at our past 3 years in a row of rookies of the year. Omar got started where it was a different market entirely and then went into the pandemic. Tuesday got started right in the start of the pandemic, and Jeff, the crazy one over there on the end, decided I'm going to start in the pandemic. So
much fun.
But they all made it work. So when you hear her say she's behind her computer for 8 hours a day, she's also doing that through a pandemic, not sitting there binge watching 8 hours worth of Netflix. She's using her 8 hours that day to be on the computer to generate conversations with her people. So it's a difference.
No joke. I got my license December 2019 and I was still on staff.
Oh gosh. December 2019.
Yes. And so Jackie, I'll never forget, we had a February Weatherford office meeting. She goes, Tuesday, I want to meet with you at Starbucks after the meeting. And I'm like, oh shoot. Okay. I was like, absolutely. So we meet and she goes, I just want to, because I told her I was ready to go full time. I had already got people in the pipeline. I was ready to rock and roll, go full time. And she looks at me and she goes, you do know what's coming, right? She was like, with COVID. And she's like, are you sure? And I went, I'm ready for the challenge. I think I can do this. I had no idea they were about to shut the world down in a month. Okay, this is February. But it was challenge accepted. Okay. I didn't go into a hole and go, oh my gosh, the world shut down. It was like, okay, what do I need to do to adapt to this new normal,
Yep.
right? Which was, I will say, and it's probably segueing into another great conversation, is social media.
It's,
And
well, it's
I-
true, but she made herself present instead of reserved. If you look at our agent roster and you look at the general cycle of production, the agents that kept putting themselves out there through the period of, I'm gonna call it the end of the world, you know, the pandemic, when a lot of people stopped working, those are the ones that now have a full pipeline. So that's something to be said about any level of agent, is kind of keeping that pipeline moving in full. What about you? How many hours?
Yeah, so when I first started, so I would be remiss if I did not give full credit to my mentor, Bridget. So my coach, she did an amazing job. I still call her coach. She still answers my phone, believe it or not. And she can never get rid of me ever because I love her too much, but she's just remarkable. But she really, really, really trained me on the technical side of the job and teaching me not to be a lazy agent. And she showed me the things that took extra time, extra attention. They weren't necessarily efficient, but it was really that mindset of not being a lazy agent. And now when I'm working with other people, I listen to them, what a lazy agent, you know, so I always send her screenshots. That's a lazy agent.
I can hear her saying that.
And I have to give her credit because she really, 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 something, you know, again, I went to school and I got my license, but like most jobs, you really don't know the job, the practicing of it until you really immerse yourself in it. So I really give her a tremendous credit. And then also I have to really brag on Mel, because when I first started again, I was very unconsciously incompetent. So I didn't know what I was doing. And so again, with COVID, I really plugged into the Thursday tech talks and anything that I could. The best advice I have for anybody is plug in. Don't do the Netflix thing, hang around the house, get dressed, get out of the house, plug in, attend all of our trainings, which is absolutely wonderful. Our Remax University is wonderful. I really just tried so hard to plug in. And then the other thing was I plugged in immediately. I was scared. I don't know if this is the best time, to Sonia's Buffini class. It was right, I was brand new, couldn't even spell Buffini. I'm like, what's Buffini? Sounds pretty cool. And people call me Popeyes. I'm like Popeyes chicken? Is that what it is? No, it's Popeyes. I don't know what Popeye is, but okay. So I immediately took Sonia's class. And if you guys haven't done that, again, I can't say enough great things about it. Just kind of the whole system and philosophy of how to really take care of your sphere and your clients again and your A-listers. So matter of fact, I signed up again for the summer blitz this summer, just a refresher for me again to kind of make sure I'm doing those things. But the best advice is really plug in.
So
And that's what I did. I had to plug in because I didn't know what I was doing. So
well, I was just gonna say, yeah, that's, and also I hope we're recording Jeff's speech about how wonderful we are, so there you go. That brings up a good point though, because there is some level of accountability to the business. So when you're setting all of this up to get ready to enter your full-time passion and career, how do you guys set goals? And then how do you hold yourself accountable? Because I know it's different for every person.
To me, every single year for the last 8 years, I write down 10 goals for that year, that calendar year. And I review them every other month just to see if I'm on the right path or not. I have them visible. It can be either a small notepad or it can be a huge board. I usually have like a mid-size with 10 goals. And for the last 8 years, 90% of those goals have been achieved. They don't come in 24 hours. They take time and you have to work to get those goals achieved.
But you're reminded of them consistently.
Yes, you have to see them every single day and see, because sometimes you're working so hard that you lose track. So you have to focus on, okay, this is my business and I'm going to take care of my baby. These goals are going to help me doing that. And they have to be balanced, okay? They have to be, it's not just about the money. It has to be your life, your mental, personal health, your business, because you need to eat, right? So you need to make money, you need to pay the mortgage. So it's a good balance between these goals, between family oriented, traveling, growing my business, taking care of my pet, taking care of my body. And every single year it happens, but you need to follow. And if you're losing track, if you don't see them every day or review them every month or every 2 months, you lose track. Okay, I'm maybe focusing on 5 goals, I'm losing focus on the other 5. I need to start doing this other thing. Quick story. One of my goals was to go to Europe about 3 years ago. And it was impossible because not only financial situation, but also the pandemic. So 5 years ago, it's like, someday I'm gonna go to Europe. So I started learning French on my own time while I was driving, going to work. It's like, because one day I'm going to need at least basic, I need to know how to ask for a beer in Europe, you know? So, le prix de la bière. I'm gonna learn.
My first thing is hello, where's the bathroom? And it's like, where's the beer?
where's the beer? But you know, how much is the beer, you know? So the pandemic comes in, I had the money already, but now I wasn't able to go. And that goal repeated again the following year. So guess what? I was
So you
able to
moved
go.
it forward because it
I
was
moved
not
it
yet
forward.
achieved,
Yes,
yes.
and part of working on this was learning the language.
Mhm.
So again, it worked out at the end. It took me about 2 to 3 years to go, but I was able to go.
Oui,
And
oui.
it's like, we.
Croissant.
So focus on your goals. You have to see them every single day.
Okay, Tuesday?
So being on staff for 10+ years before I got my real estate license, Jackie did business planning every year. And I knew the value in that. So I encourage all new agents and experienced agents, if you haven't done it, do it. They usually run it about towards the end of every year. And it just helps put everything in perspective because setting goals can be overwhelming, right? You can be like, I don't know, should I do 10? Should I do 50? I don't know.
Marketing
You're
goal,
like,
what's my
like,
spirit
you're
goal?
like, I don't know what to
What's
do.
my
But
sleeping goal?
they have it down really to a science, right? And to where you fill out these questions, you do a little bit of homework, and I'm talking an hour of homework, y'all. It's not crazy. And it just like puts it in paper and you're just like, yes, this is doable, right?
Makes it attainable.
It does. I mean, it just makes you go, I can do this. So I did business planning right out the gate because, I got my license in December. I knew what I wanted to do. And I also believe in vision boards. I do the big ones, y'all. I mean, in my office, it says, and it's personal and work goals. Okay.
Which I think is important.
It is.
You
It
can
like
burn
he said,
yourself out either way.
you've got to have that balance. And so I believe in vision board. I believe in business planning. And then
How often do you check it?
shoot, it's in my office in front
So
of my
every
face
day.
all day.
Okay.
Because I believe in that constant, like if I take a break just to think for a minute and I see it, I'm just like, oh, I love that. Yes. Oh, wait, I haven't hit that goal yet.
Mhm.
What can I do to get there? But another one that I think is unique that I think people haven't tapped on yet is talking about your goals to other people. Okay. And I'm talking like to my mother-in-law, to when I go to a title event, I'm just like, oh yeah, my goal is to hit 100% club this year. And they're just like, what is that? And you're like, okay, let me explain. I can do it. And because when you say something, you kind of feel more like, I better do that or else they're gonna be like, oh, she didn't do it.
It's true.
It does. So talk about your goals. Don't internalize them.
Like
Like
a
it's
wonderful tip.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
so it's like speak them to your friends, your family, your sphere.
Believe.
Believe in it.
Manifest it.
And manifest it. Oh, I totally believe in that. And it just, and then when you do hit it on my social media, talking about my cheerleaders, it's because they knew my goals.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, Tuesday hit her goal, right?
Nice.
Yeah, and it's just like,
And try to find a motivational quote that will help you focus on the entire goals. Mine is patience and diligence move mountains. I always write it every single year at the very bottom of my goals. And again, I do believe on that. So if you find something like that, just believe. Yes.
Jeff?
Yeah,
Accountability, goals.
I've always tend to be goal oriented, whatever, but I think really the best advice is what gets measured, it gets done. And so I had a goal years ago, from my personal into work, to run a marathon for my birthday. Off the couch to the full marathon. I thought, well, I have to have it's a good goal, but how are you going to get there? So the tracker, and I think that's what I really recommend in this business today is how we track our time and what we do. For the marathon, I mean, daily, it was an app that literally told me every day what I do. Today you rest. I'm like, yes, I get to rest today. Today you got to go do this or whatever. And the same thing in our business, there's different tools we have for a tracker, but
So it let you put in your goal for that and then you
Yeah.
track it?
yeah,
Okay.
you put
I
it
love
like
that.
for the marathon from a personal side where you put the date of the marathon and it backs it out and tells you every day what you have to do to get there to
get
the
there.
marathon.
Okay.
Well, I will tell you that at the end of the marathon, because I really did train and I followed that religiously every day, I could have kept going past the finish line. I was still smiling. I had a great time because I really did follow that. And I think same thing in our business world. I've always done the business planning, I guess the last 2 years. I was brand new in January. I did the first year with
Yep.
Jackie and then the second year. And then I've done the vision board thing at the end of the year twice.
Yep.
Title companies have them. We did it here in the office again. So mine's a big vision board. It's not real
We'll do it
pretty.
again for
Melanie
anybody who
did-
hasn't gotten to
Melanie
it.
didn't laugh at mine, even though I tried to be artistic, but it wasn't very artistic, but it's on my beer fridge in the garage. So when I go in the afternoon, grab a cold beer, I see, oh, you're doing really well on that. You're not doing so well on that, but I really think, and there's different tools, again, we have in this business for a tracker. I think one of the things I do every week and every month is I'm weird, but I really kind of see what I do every single day and every
Yes.
month. And I go back and look, what did I do this month last year? Did I hit the goal or did I not? What am I doing this week? Am I winning or am I losing? Kind of what am I doing? So you have to kind of stay on track, but there's different tools out there today to kind of help us measure that. What we do
So,
for the
but you
time.
touched on something when you said, am I winning? There is overwhelming things to be done in our industry. You can quickly get inundated and freeze with analysis paralysis and just stop if you think you have too much to do. So in the times when you hit a slump or you get locked up or you're not hitting the goal that you've set for yourself, how do you keep yourself motivated and going? Because that's hard right now.
I try to stay always educated because every situation is different with every client. So if I noticing that it's slowing down, I try to look opportunities before opportunities find me.
Yeah.
I'm a hustler by nature. So people tend to say that money doesn't grow on trees. I do believe it grows on trees, but it might be on the wrong wood. So you need to find you need to find this, there's things you can control and you cannot control, right? So let's focus on the things I can control. So stay always educated, find out those opportunities, keep digging because you're gonna find the gold if you keep. I remember this image that I learned back in school that I saw. There's this guy digging and he looks so tired and then he stops. But then the image shows that maybe 1 or 2 more hits and there's a huge mine gold.
The diamond, I've seen
The
that.
diamond,
Yes.
So maybe just take a seat and rest, breathe deep and in and out, and then keep digging because you will find it. So you have to find and motivate yourself. Nobody else is just gonna come and do, oh yeah, you're gonna be okay. Do it yourself and then just keep digging.
Okay, you
Okay.
guys?
When I feel kind of a lull, I kind of step back and this is just me, but I surround myself with people who are like-minded. Okay. I make it an effort to reach out and make an appointment, a lunch, coffee date, whatever it is, attend an event that's going on with other people who are pumped, who are positive, who are hardworking.
Smart.
And it literally ramps me up.
That's so smart.
Like I leave that event going, yes,
Yep.
just like our office meetings do. Do y'all
Like
not leave
yourself,
office meetings
yes.
like I'm gonna take on the world? Okay.
Yes.
And so that's when I feel that lull or my bank account feels that lull. Let's just get real. Like you're just like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
And so, but it's twofold, tenfold, however you want to look at it. Because I get motivated by them, I'm also building them up, right? Because I'm naturally a positive person, as we're feeding each other. I get excited, we talk about stuff, but y'all, I'm not joking. My business relationships, and when I'm talking about going to events, I'm talking title events, stuff like that, okay? Our office stuff.
You're showing up.
You're showing up.
Yes.
I have probably done 10 transactions that were referrals from those relationships. So do not discount.
That's tangible and measurable.
Okay, because they see my energy, even though they know I haven't been a full-time real estate agent for 3 years. They're just like, girl, you're my girl. Even, I mean, they will still choose me because they see my enthusiasm, my hard work ethic, and that I'm ready to rock and roll and I'm going to do my best. But I can't encourage you enough. Find your people. Okay, find your people that when you need that lift up, you just schedule a coffee appointment and you leave there motivated with new ideas. Y'all might do something as a team. It really does help.
And I remember when my bank account was hitting almost zero.
Oh, shoot.
Yes, I called 3 lenders that I always work with. Is by the way, how about bilingual? I mean, if I wouldn't make that phone call, that I made the difference. That's what I was, telling you about digging. So this lender's like, by the way, I just got an application. They have been pre-approved, $500,000 per qualification, and they speak Spanish. Do you want to help them? Be like,
You put yourself
Of
top of the
course,
line. There's
yes.
something to be said about that.
And remember when I told you, don't wait until the opportunity find you. You find that opportunity. Well, we toured about 3 homes and we put an offer. It was accepted, and then we closed the deal.
And you guys might be thinking, well, I don't have a second language. That's not going to happen to me. Well,
It
guess
doesn't
what?
matter.
There's hundreds of agents in this market that have a second language, but he's the one that put himself top of mind to that particular person at that particular time and received that lead.
Yes.
Put himself out there, got the result.
I mean,
What about you when you get in a slump? And actually, Jeff's one of the most positive people I know, so this will be interesting.
Well, I still hit a slump though.
Okay.
So the fall again, just so we know, this is our Super Bowl season, right? So I went through my first fall and I'm like, oh, this is weird. This is freaky. What's going on? My phone's not ringing, things aren't happening. So I go back to the founding father of Southwest Airlines, Herb Keller, phenomenal leader. One of his famous quotes is, "You manage in good times because bad times will come." So I really tried to put the money in the bank and set the taxes aside because I knew there'd be a slump. I didn't want to freak out. So I kind of knew that a bad time would come. Even though, I was very blessed last year to have a good time, I knew a bad time would come. So October, November, the well kind of got dry a little bit and I just plugged back in. That's what I said all ago. Same thing Tuesday said. I just really tried to get around people again, to try to bring my energy up. I tried to really do my planning, training, try to sharpen my saw in the fall so I could really start strong in January this year.
As Tracy
Really
says,
pick up.
iron
So,
sharpens iron. That's Tracy.
sharpen the
Yeah.
saw. That's what I did. Really try to stay positive and plug in.
Well, so what's interesting about that is you all have a common thread. Are y'all noticing this? A personality trait that won't let them back into a corner and crawl into. I mean, I'm sure they have all crawled into a hole and cried. We all have as humans,
Kick the
right?
dog.
But when they're done doing that, they don't wait. They plug themselves into an environment where they can get themselves lifted back up. So we've kind of talked about your building process. Where are you now? What has changed for you in your life over the past few years? I know you have found a niche that has brought you business. You are getting into your world of marketing. Jeff, you're still in growth phase, and we talked the other day about the shifting market. His business took over so fast, he's just now coming back to say, okay, I'm above water again, now I can lay out my seeds. So where are you guys now?
I keep actually growing my educational marketing because that's where my business has been growing from. And
Talk about that. You do seminars.
I do seminars.
Yes.
You remember when I told you that I was a consumer before and there was tons of questions that I needed to be, needed to be answered. Like, okay, let's educate people. So my niche and what I've been putting my energy into is education. I do 3 to 4 seminars a year for my clients and potential clientele, because now that I've been this in the 4th year, people tend to come back. It's like, Omar, when are you having your seminar? I want to go back because the market is totally different than it was before.
And they send
for
people
years.
to you too.
They do. So the first year, that was and I know that would be one of the questions, that was my golden nugget. And it opened the door for so many referrals and so many clients that even 3-4 years after, they're coming back. It's like, I'm ready to either resell, buy another property as an investment, or I have a family member that needs your help because you did things right from the very beginning. And that's part of the golden nuggets as well. Do it right the first time. Because if you do right, I mean, it will reward, it will come back to you for sure. So again, I'm focusing on education. This year I had 2 seminars, and probably the 3rd is going to be at the end of this year. That the market I know might be slowing down, so it's a good time for me to keep attracting and being prepared for 2023.
In these seminars, what are what's interesting about this, that he's not really filling you in on the background. He told you he created this team when he first got into the business, the lender, the insurance person, home warranty. They come with him and do these seminars with him. So at this point, it's minimal effort. In the beginning, it was a lot of effort. You had to design your presentation that you're going to present to the room, put your team together. Now, how much leeway do you need before the event? How much prep? And what's your return from that?
It's probably a week, when before it was months of preparation, because now I have the information. I've went through many transactions, and that helps you. That's the experience that's coming to you to now educate easily. I know the market is different, but you adapt, and then you show or teach that information to your clients, and they trust you because you are very knowledgeable, even though you keep learning throughout the years. But the team that I built help me out on this events. They sponsor me. The only thing I have to do is find the right spot, equipment, and boom, I already have the information on the back of my mind. And it's only like an hour and a half, probably. It lasts 2 hours, 1 hour and a half interaction, very interactive because I don't want it to be bored. And the last 30 minutes is just socializing, answering questions, and everybody goes so motivated. And quick story, the best successful story that I have from those seminars is my lender took her computer with her to that event. At the end of the seminar, she did an application, the client was approved. And then the following day, this wasn't a Saturday, on Sunday, we went and looked for homes. We found the home and we closed like 30 days later after that, so immediate.
But that's not your only closing from those seminars and clients.
Yes, no, I've
So
had
of your business, how much would you attribute this niche? Would you say 50% of your business comes?
70%.
70%, that's amazing. So see, you found something, honed it in, mastered it, refined it over a few years, and now it is to where it kind of runs itself, but it took work to get there.
and some of them might not buy a house in the next, 30 days.
Right.
But because from the very first seminar till today, I'm still getting good, how do you say, outcome. And the best thing of it is that you created, you put the seed on your clientele, on your clients, and then they will keep referring you. So that's why I tell them at the beginning of the seminars, for all of you, at least 7 of you are gonna buy a home within this year. And you always have.
But see, that's very motivating when the media
Yes.
right now can be very defeating for buyers. So he's in there lifting them up and telling them you can do it.
Yep.
You started with a giant billboard. How has your marketing changed?
Sure. So when I got started in the business, right, I had been taught and listening to everybody that you focus on your sphere, right? Your friends, your family, the people around you. Well, my husband is a firefighter, so I knew I needed to market to them, but they're all young. Okay, some of them are still bachelors. The last thing they're thinking of is buying a house. It was COVID. Okay, it was just like, okay, the perfect storm of, well, that kind of stopped that. So I was like, what do I need to do? And I had been blessed with hearing about this company called OpCity. If you haven't, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you about that, or you can talk to Johnny or
She
Melanie
also
or
has a
anybody.
recorded talk about it on my.
I
web,
do,
too,
yeah.
that you can watch.
And so but it was one of those, I wasn't gonna let it defeat me, right? I was like, okay, well, if my peeps aren't ready, then where am I gonna go to get this business? Because I just took a leap of faith and quit my salary job. And Jackie is looking at me going, girlfriend, I told you to stay here and you wouldn't did this, so make it happen, right? So I did. And so I signed up with OpCity, and y'all, it was 9 months full-time. I wasn't even full year, okay? Or full-time real estate, my first year. I did 26 deals, okay? 16 of those were internet leads, okay?
Let that
Don't be
hit.
scared. Yeah, okay.
And I hear from people all the time, they're like, these leads suck, and they don't even engage with them. And you heard her very first closing was under 10 grand, and over half of her leads were internet leads that she nurtured and made into closings.
Yeah. And so to tag on to that, so think about this, internet leads come through people, we had the pandemic, people now were like internet, everything was on the internet, their phones, right? So they were getting on there and they were making calls, but without those internet leads, and yes, I had to pay a hefty referral fee to OpCity, I now have 16 clients for life that I wouldn't have before. And I think I calculated 7 of them have all sent me repeat business.
Oh,
Nice.
that's
That I
great.
don't have to pay a referral fee on. Okay, so
Yeah, okay, now imagine, flash forward mentally 5-10 years from now, how that dominoes.
okay, so what I
Yes.
tell people is think about like a spider web, right? You get one client, you impress them, even if it goes anywhere, it doesn't. I've had people that I snag, and for unforeseen reasons, it ends up not going anywhere. But the spider web off, they end up referring me to their brother-in-law, their sister, their coworker, right? And then they end up referring me. So it's just a million little spider webs that end up
It really
connecting.
is.
And so OpCity, if you find yourself, a big nugget I can give to new agents, if you find yourself, now y'all work your sphere, Buffini teaches it, Remax Trinity teaches it, that is going to be your biggest money maker, okay, a consistent money maker, because you never want the big hills and valleys, right? You want it to have consistent business coming in. But if you need to fulfill or fill in a little bit of business with some internet leads, OpCity is a great opportunity. But I'm not kidding y'all. It is 1 out of every 10 I close. I have to have 10 conversations. Sometimes 8 of those people I go show houses to, and I get 1 closing. Internet leads are not easy. Referrals, probably 50% of them we get to the closing table, right? I mean, I'm about a 50% on personal referrals. But internet leads, it's 1 out of 10. But guess what? It's experience, having those conversations, reading the person. that if you do internet leads, the biggest advice I can give to you is take classes or watch YouTube videos on how to read people. Because you have to know immediately out of the gate within 5 seconds of taking this call, do they need the fluff and stuff? Do they need the energy? Or are they I need you direct and to the point?
Yep.
Because you can either turn them away or grab them immediately within 5 seconds.
Mhm.
So,
It's a good point.
and I will say,
and you can't-
business development helped me
Well, I was
with
gonna say, that reminds me of that class we took on personality. We had the best time. We're very different personalities, but similar.
We are, yeah. But my 10 years on staff, on Jackie teaching me on recruiting and learning people how to make that great first impression with people's personalities and mimicking them,
Mhm.
right? So if you are not good at that, don't do internet leads. If you are not good about picking up the phone and going, I see where this person wants me to go.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying be fake, okay? I'm not saying be a different person. I'm saying accommodating, because I have best friends who some need me to be more fluffy, some need to be more serious, right?
Well, and
So you
she's
gotta
touching
learn
on a really strong point here, because he does phone calls and he does in-person seminars. She was doing billboards and internet leads. We're about to hear what Jeff does, but everybody does it different. I think the main point is you kind of have to try tons of different things and figure out what
Which one
your
works for
heart and personality speak to and focus on those. And then like Omar said, he's been able to develop his seminars to where it's now 70% of his business. Well, that enables him to now go find an additional method of bringing in business because this one is running smoothly. So instead of spreading. Jeff, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I think to kind of add on what they're saying, I really encourage everybody to kind of know your brand.
Yep.
So one of the things when I start, we all want the money, right? We're doing it because we love people, but we do love people. We also love a paycheck as well, right? But it isn't about the money. So I think what kept me grounded early on day one, on my business cards, on the magnet, on my truck, everywhere again, I put on there, good name is better than great riches. And it reminds me daily that my integrity, following the golden rule, going above and beyond for the customer, working, everybody's a realtor, these days. Everybody has a realtor, their cousin, neighbor, whatever. But I pride myself, my brand is nobody's gonna work harder for you. This Pop-Tart's gonna be honest. This Pop-Tart's gonna be transparent.
Hot.
This Pop-Tart's gonna be
Your hot sprinkles.
and
Yeah.
toasty.
a cherry and sprinkles, but going above and beyond. That's kind of my brand, I guess. So when I work with people again, there's some clients that when I get to know them, like Tuesday said again, they're just not for me. And I'm saying, you know what? I'm just not, I can refer you to somebody, but it's not for you. But I really want to follow the golden rule and really do a great job so I get those referrals again and take care of people the right way. And that's when I try to be different, I guess.
Yes,
Treat people how I want to be treated. So
Roosevelt wants to know if the magnet's still on your truck.
it's still in the truck today.
I saw it.
I see him driving around town and I'm like, there's Jeff.
Yeah.
You just gotta be careful. You can't really honk and flip people off with it on your truck. That's okay.
Know your strengths.
That's why Erika doesn't do it.
Yes.
Okay, so as we get towards the end of this, I want to know, obviously you guys have heard the term golden nugget. I want to know, would you have done anything differently? And also, is there any last pieces that you really feel like people need to know about growing their business? Would you have done anything differently? Let's start there.
I wouldn't wait that long to take the decision because the business, us doing it as a part-time agent. When I spoke to Jack and David, I still remember that conversation we had. It gave me confidence, but it took me still a long time to decide. I spoke to some of you as well. And
I remember you sitting in that back room every day going, should I do this? Should I not do this?
Yes, it was a tough decision, but that's what I would have done different.
Okay,
Just taking more advantage of my time.
okay. What about you guys? Anything you would have changed? We can't take away a hand.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I think I would have been less conservative on my goals.
Okay, I love that.
I
Shoot for the
really,
stars.
yeah, I mean, you really, it's go big or go home, okay? And so when I first got
Says
started.
the one with the billboard. She
But
goes big.
yeah, so I literally was like, oh, let's be realistic, let's be logical. I'm new, and I was like, and I was like, 10 deals, and y'all, like within 6 months, I was like, oh, I need it. I've already hit that. Like I need to adjust my goals, and so I wish, and now I learned from that on set that goal big.
Yep.
Set it monstrous and go, you know what, I can do that. And because don't restrict yourself, because I see that with people who are like, I just want to do one deal my first year. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? No, girlfriend, you're like 15. No, we're gonna do 15 deals. Because
Just kidding.
but because you
mentally can set yourself those restrictions, and you literally will be satisfied with, I just did one deal. Right.
That's a
You did
huge
not-
mental tip.
You did not get in this business,
Yes.
right, to just pay bills and to break even. You did it to fund your life.
Yep.
And to grow something that you're proud of. And so set those goals big, you know, I mean, I'm serious. When I talk to my mentees, whatever they tell me, I'm like, we're doubling that. Like, I mean, that's no. And
Well, so, and did y'all notice that when she reached her goal of 10, instead of saying, all right, I reached it, now next year I'll get back at it again, she adjusted her goal. She moved her goal.
I did.
And that's what suited her. You know, it's not necessarily for everyone, but that's what suited her. And then she was able to reach that new goal. What about you?
I mean, I try to live a life, you know, with no regrets. So I really, you know, look back and like, gee, had my dad tell me I could start earlier, how well off would I
Yes.
be now? How much further in business would I be? But no, I think things happen for a reason. It was the right time, right place. And so.
Would you have
No
structured
regrets.
any of your starting different? Maybe you would
Oh.
have done the announcement instead of the wife.
I would have probably tried to set up a shop first in the business before the phone starts ringing.
Oh,
I didn't have any systems in place at all, you know, and I was very, very blessed. I did it backwards though. I was blessed that I had leads and I had clients immediately. I had a listing immediately. I had buyers immediately, which is great, but I didn't have any system set up at all. So, you know, it worked out well. It really taught me kind of the technical part of the job quickly. I drank from a fire hose early on, but I mean, I guess if that's one thing I wish I kind of had a
But you didn't
storefront set
drown.
up. I didn't drown.
You
I'm still
didn't drown.
alive, but things happen for a reason.
your husband's firefighter.
Yeah, that's what you get. You're okay.
Take the
You just
fire
have
I
to
should
put it
have
on.
called him.
Because like, I'm sorry, very last,
No, yeah.
just to close on my comment, like Tuesday said it, dream big, because people say that the sky is the limit. To me, the sky is the beginning. So just think about that and go for it.
And is there anything that you guys would tell somebody either considering to get into the career, or maybe they've been in a career for quite some time and they are needing that next push? Because I think this topic applies to everybody. What's your golden nuggets?
I have, so y'all, no joke, I've been, ever
Yeah,
since
please.
she told me this, I've been like taking notes and I'm like, okay, there's things I just want to say.
Do it.
So one thing I want to say to new agents is I can't stress enough, don't pass up on the small deals. Okay. And I think I touched on that a little bit earlier, but I really want to stress that. When you get into business, you're thinking money, I'm going to make 10 grand on this or 3 grand on $100,000 deal. But think about this. I was so humbled and excited just to have a buyer conversation in general. And I knew it was a learning experience. I took this gentleman who's like, oh, I just want to buy some land in Granbury, just some lots. I'm going to sit on them for a little while. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. And I'm like, I got you. Okay. He ended up buying 3 lots. All of them totaled less than $50,000. Y'all, he ended up building homes on those. Guess who got to list them? And I made 10 grand on each of them.
It's not just typically the most appreciative too.
Right. And I have a client for life. And then, okay, gets better. They ended up wanting to turn around and sell one of the lots that they didn't end up building on. Okay. And go buy a home in Puerto Rico. Guess who's getting a referral out of Puerto Rico? Okay. So, but I hear not just from our company agents who are like, I don't do anything less than 150,000 or sometimes, under 300. And I'm like, I'll take them.
Or I'm not gonna touch leases.
Or I'm not going to touch leases. Okay, so don't pass up on those because they segue and lead you into a lifetime client. They lead you into referrals and they lead to bigger deals. It's not our business, and we've never taught this, and you shouldn't have the expectation, is instant gratification. It takes time. Okay. And so I cannot stress enough, don't pass up. If somebody calls you and says, hey, I want to buy this little $30,000 lot, I got you. And sometimes they're the easiest because they're cash. Okay. Like they'll pay their gas bill for the month. Okay. So take them, work them, and then start getting their family and friends. Don't pass those up because guess what? 80% of the agents, not just Remax Trade, I'm talking like agents are passing them up and not giving them the time of day. Take them. Take them.
Preach. And I want to throw out a statistic since you said the 80%. Nick Bailey, our COO of Remax, recently said that they upped the dropout rate within your first 5 years and your first 2-year renewal cycle. 95% of agents don't make it. And you're looking at 3 people right here that started in the most challenging time in real estate when we literally couldn't even show houses without masks and all that. So, okay, what about you? You have any tips, golden nuggets, or things you want to share?
If it's a newbie coming into business, they need to be at Remax Trinity. Just saying, so
My job.
I'll make it quick, but I did my
We're done.
analysis. I did analysis paralysis. Imagine that. I interviewed 11 brokers because, you know, I know, and I had friends in the business, and I was very humbled where they wanted me to be on their teams and blah, blah, blah. I was very, very humbled, you know, to meet these different people, and I did my little spreadsheet and all. And truly, in the fourth quarter, with 30 seconds on the clock, someone says, go meet with Remax Trinity. I'm like, Remax who? Remax ain't on my list. Didn't even make my list. And then I came over here and I met her. And I'm like, oh, this is home.
I'm like,
This
you're
is-
not leaving.
Melanie was good. She threw that book out there and she reeled me in. I'm like, but you're not even on my list. I can't come over here, and no regrets at all. But I think the support, again, the family, everybody in this entire office, again, that'd be my recommendation.
Lean
The
into the culture.
training, the culture, the support that we have here, again, not an EXP, if someone wants us to do recruiting, not just some, you know, mom and pop broker, again, but the family we have here is phenomenal.
It is different, I will say, and I take that with great honors, but I will say there is a community here that wants you to succeed, whether you have been in the business for 10 years and you've had something medical happen, or maybe you just took a year off during the pandemic. These people still want to lift you up, whether you're a brand new agent. Our community here is irreplaceable. I fully believe that. What about you? Any last tips you want to?
Yeah, I guess for newbies, it's just self-confidence. That will make you stronger every single day, because success, there's no such thing as expedited success. It takes years. So the first year, it's key. If you believe in yourself, it's going to happen. Just be very patient and go for it and fight for it.
So, and then somebody said something earlier that made me want to recommend, Erika recommends a book called Go for the No. It's really good when you are in a position where you're locked and need more business. It kind of helps you see that every little thing that you're doing, even when you're getting shot down, is working your way towards an end and towards a closing. So the no is actually a success. So that's something that you can use to get you motivated. Erika, you have anything else? And does anybody have anything else they want to say before we open up and see if anybody has any questions?
Oh, I was just gonna go straight to questions. Rosabelle wanted to know if you, Jeff, got referrals from your magnets.
Great question, Rosabelle. No, but it's on there.
But
But it's a reminder for me again. 'Cause it- you know,
so in like Tuesday, in her billboard, it is impressions and it is branding, and you may or may not be able to track a person back to saying, I saw you driving and wrote your number down from your magnet, although I've heard about it several times from several people. But they are being branded. I'll never forget this agent I used to roommate with when I first started. She used to go every single day to Tom Thumb at the same time of day and just push her cart around with her Starbucks. She wasn't necessarily grocery shopping or what, but she would park her car in the parking lot, and she got a ton of business. People would come up to her and say, I see your signs everywhere. Well, this was in the downturn economy when nothing was moving, so it's completely opposite of this market. What they were seeing was her walking around Tom Thumb and her car parked in Tom Thumb. So they don't remember whether or not it's been in a yard or that they've been branded. They see you several times driving through the neighborhood with those magnets. They pass your billboard. They don't know that she just got started within the past few years. When they see that billboard, they think, look at that successful agent. I'm gonna hire that person. So I feel like you always know more than the consumer does, and sometimes that's hard to remember when you very first get started. Okay, any more questions? And yeah, you have a
Do you have
thought,
more
go for it.
questions?
No more questions.
Okay, so another, I just want to take this opportunity to talk to new agents. Okay, so another thing that people forget about is your business partners. And I think if you're taking Buffini, I think they do tap on that. So if you're not in Buffini, this is for you. I have gotten deals for my business people. Take them to lunch. Okay, they're the ones who are, you've got title people, you've got inspectors, you're like, hey, I'd love to take you to coffee. You know what? Turn the tables and go, I'd like to take you. Okay, because first of all, they also have brothers, sisters, family, friends. Now, granted, we respect the fact that they know 50 other agents, right? That they're marketing themselves to, but don't forget about me. I'm a badass, okay? And because I have done deals literally with not just lenders, but a plumber, okay? I called a plumber to help me put in a clean out on an older home. And he literally was like, hey, while I've got you on the phone, he's like, I just love you. He's like, I need to list an investment property that I have. Guess who got that listing? Okay, so love on our business partners. They're loving on us, and it is a tit for tat type of deal. When they take you to lunch, just be like, okay, you want my business, but okay, guess what? Also keep me in mind if you know anybody who wants to buy or sell. Okay.
And I guarantee you, he knows other agents, but he chose you.
But he chose
All of
me.
them flushed that opportunity down.
Well, because I've done Popeyes to his house. When 4th of July came, yeah,
Good job, Melanie.
and love on his Facebook stuff. They got a new puppy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your puppy. Okay, so don't forget about your business partners.
I love that she's
Okay.
saying that.
And because guess what?
True.
They
You've built some
also
prosperous businesses.
they also have the same mentality of us of, I get it. You know, they want to support me, I gotta support them. All right. So don't forget about your business peeps.
Well, and I'll second that. Kylie, I think, is the only one in the room I looked around who's familiar with me preaching about this, but in January, I called my clients, all 100+ people, and asked for 10 cleaners, 10 landscapers, 10, anything I could think of that they could provide. Not only did I get referral business from them, but I met new vendors to add to my list. And so I contacted over 250 people in 1 month over that one phone call and generated 9 leads for myself.
But you also created a tool for yourself to provide confidence that when anybody in the future calls you and said, I need a cleaner, you say, here's 10.
Yes, and that cleaner, we've now come up with a listing package. She goes and detail cleans my houses at a very low cost. So I'm constantly sending her new business. I've got 3 active listings right now that she's worked on. And she's been amazing. So I love working with my vendor partners, whether they send me referrals or not. You always have to have somebody there. It's a bonus when you do get to have those referrals open. So the second Tuesdays.
So put yourself out there, get prepared, be accountable. Jeannie, you have a question or a thought?
No, I was just gonna second what Tuesday says, and I wanted to share a real fast story with you.
Yeah.
I had an AC guy come to my house to work on my AC, and while we were talking real estate, of course, because I had my badge on all the time, I sleep in it.
Y'all, she picked up a referral in the hospital wearing her name tag, just saying.
Hey.
She really did.
I love it.
So he tells me, hey, I just left the house, and they were talking about selling their house. I said, what's their name and number? He gave it to me. That afternoon, I went over there, listed the house, and not only that, but my mentee brought a buyer. I told that, I got this house. So Remax got the buy, the sell, and several of my vendors got to pick up their house because they needed some work with it. So, I mean, vendors are gold. They're gold. You've got to share with them.
They're invested in us, and we need to invest in them.
And
It's true.
I'm so proud because he put us together, and I was like,
And they're part of the process.
They are. I mean, we
They really
need
are.
them.
Okay, anybody else, final thoughts and any other questions on Zoom or otherwise? Everybody's good? Well, I want to thank them. I could not be more impressed with these 3 people. You can see that they were able to take nothing and build it into what I would consider a real estate empire. And they all 3 have a trajectory ahead of them that they can do whatever they want to do, whatever goal they want to set. So thank you guys. And we are all rooting all of you on as we see you all progress, and just thank you so much for your time.
yes.
Shout out to my boys.
Love you, coach. Love you, coach.
What up? Love you guys. Not,
So don't take it. Oh my
Okay,
God.
we're gonna do a quick picture with the panel.
Okay.
Are we standing or?
I was thinking, I'm still
You
the same
can do
height.
either. You can do either.
Okay, we're sitting. We're gonna sit.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, did it take? Okay, I took 2.
All right.
Thank you. This production's fixing our lives.
Yeah.
Yes, and I also want to thank Shayna and Tatum for bringing breakfast and mimosas. We've got
Our
Destiny.
vendors, yes.
Courtney, you want me to go and chat with the panel? She's on her way, so.
Hey, let me brag real quick on Shayna, just so while you guys are talking about vendors, right?
Yes.
So I had a listing appointment and my clients were moving, the movers were there, it was in Bedford, like giving the packet like 30 days before, right? To fill out the T-47, have it notarized, blah, blah, blah. Of course, they're moving to California, the movers are there, they're leaving in 1 hour. And I say, hey buddy, I need that packet back from you, and all. He's like, what packet? The seller's disclosure, the T-47, the documents